Welcome, my friends of the interwebs, and welcome to my little video telling Netflix that they suck. I just canceled my Netflix today after years of being in a bad relationship. It's, and I describe it as a relationship because much like a girlfriend, it all starts out great, and then at some point it turns kind of bad. And that was really my experience with Netflix. So I'm going to kind of chronicle it real quick. I'm going to be a little hard on Netflix. I think they screwed themselves on this deal. But let me start from the beginning. I'm the kind of guy that I would rent videos at the video store and, like Blockbuster or whatever. And I was the kind of guy that was always paying late fees. I'd watch the movie and they'd sit there and I'd forget to take them back. And next thing I know, Blockbuster would be calling me going, hey, you gotta bring the movies back. Okay. So every time I went to rent a movie, it's like, well, you owe us $12.98 in late fees or some shit like that. And so I was like, damn. But then when Netflix came out, they're like, there's no late fees with Netflix. So it just called my name. And I took a trial offer on Netflix. I don't remember anymore what it was, but and it was really kind of cool. I ended up buying the package that let you have 3 DVDs. In fact, I brought out the last 3 DVDs out that I will ever get from Netflix. These are the last ones. You Don't Know Jack, The Tourist, and Machete, which sucked. The Tourist was okay, except for Angelina Jolie is not aging well, in my opinion. Let me know. Chime in. When she did Tomb Raider, she was kind of crazy hot. But now she's just not aging good. I'm not sure what the story is there. Don't get me wrong. And You Don't Know Jack, kind of cool, kind of a cool movie. About assisted suicide, if you're down with that. So anyway, I would get to 3 movies at a time, and that was cool. I would take my time watching them. When you first get Netflix, you're watching them, you send them back, you're watching them, you send them back. You watch a shitload of movies the first couple months you have Netflix. And then it kind of slows down. But the cool thing about it is you would order a movie, and if it sat on your table for, 2 weeks before it ever got to it, it was no big deal. The monthly fee, I got the most expensive package when I first joined Netflix. It was 3 DVDs. There was no streaming at the time. But, it was what it was. But anyway, here's where the relationship gets ugly. They started this whole streaming thing, but the cool thing was in my bracket, in my financial bracket or I should say the package, being the most expensive package that they had, streaming was free. In fact, streaming was actually free for the next level down financially, but whatever. I like to get the 3 DVDs anyway. And so streaming was free, and I remember when I first started getting on to stream, it was really kind of cool because I was watching some old reruns of TV shows that I watched as a kid, like Kolchak the Night Stalker, just old stuff. I don't know, Beverly Hillbillies, whatever, just old stuff. And that was kind of neat. But, after a while, the novelty wore off. There really wasn't a lot of new content that was streamable at the time. And I just kind of looked at streaming as kind of like a side thing, but not really an added value as far as I was concerned. My big thing was always the 3 DVDs. Well, then, all of a sudden, Blu-ray comes out. And, in fact, let me show you. The top of this is blue. This one's not. This indicates it was a Blu-ray. They said, look, for an extra few dollars a month, you can sign up to get Blu-rays. Well, I had a fairly expensive television with a Blu-ray player. I mean, sure, I'm going to spend the extra couple bucks to get Blu-ray. I want to get the most out of the television. So I did that, but I understood the logic behind it because Blu-ray was a new technology. Not a lot of people had it at that time. And I thought, well, eventually, once Blu-ray becomes the overwhelming standard, then, of course, they're going to drop that fee. And I can't believe I actually thought that. But at the time, I'm like, whatever. So anyway, but then, all of a sudden, the fee went up. Not for the Blu-ray, but for the whole thing, the 3 DVD packet. And I was like, well, okay, now listen to their spew. And they're like, look, we're going to charge a little bit more, but we're going to invest heavily in getting better streamable content, more newer stuff, streamable content. That's what the money's for. And so, if it's cool with you, we'd like to raise your fees. So actually, they didn't even say, is it cool with you? They just raised the fees. But, I was still like, well, okay, well, I mean, streaming's all right. I'm like, all right, well, if they're going to have more new content with streaming, then, I'll pay a little extra money. But, they never delivered on that. They raised the rate, but they never delivered on more relevant or more newer content. In fact, here's the one of my biggest bitches about Netflix. Even with the DVDs, the video stores would have new release movies like a month or 2 months even, and sometimes 3 months before Netflix ever had them. In fact, it got to the point where, well, one of the reasons that I even got Machete, because it's typically not something I would normally get, is because, in all honesty, I'd watched all their new release movies, and it was like, damn. And the only other options is to order movies that you could watch on basic cable. So, it really started to suck. But I'm waiting for the promise of the streaming thing, which never delivered. And then all of a sudden, recently, like in the last week, I get this email from Netflix saying, that they were going to raise the rate, and it was by 60 or 70%. And what they were trying to do, and I understood what they were trying to do, is they were trying to force everybody to the streaming because it's cheaper for them. They don't have the they don't have the shipping costs when it comes to that. But the thing of it is their streaming sucks. It's kind of like, if you're just solely going to get streaming for Netflix, you're going to be watching shit that you can watch on basic cable. Seriously. For the most part, that's not an exaggeration. So it was kind of like, all right, so if you want to still get the DVDs, you're going to pay through the fucking ass. And so I'm like, screw you, Netflix. Seriously, for what they're charging now, it's like, you know what? Screw you. And screw your streaming. I can watch all that shit on the internet for free. Why would I pay Netflix for the privilege of using their service to stream when there's a million different options out there that are every bit as good and doesn't cost anything? I don't know what Netflix is doing or what they're hoping to accomplish. Well, I'll tell you what they are accomplishing, though. They're ruining... who really must be pissed? Blockbuster. Because they're probably thinking to themselves, why couldn't Netflix have cut their own balls off 2 years ago before we took such a huge hit? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to go to Redbox or Blockbuster, or there's even a Sights and Sounds down the street from me, or a Family Video, or I'll find whatever on the internet. Screw Netflix. Netflix, you suck. That's just the sad truth of it all. But then, here's my problem. It's one thing to suck Netflix, but it's another thing to suck and then charge out the ass for your sucking. That's the thing that kills me. Had you bumped it up a couple of bucks, I might not be making this video right now. But the fact that you bumped it up so much, trying to force people into the direction... See, I don't like to be pushed. You can lead me anywhere. You can't push me for shit. And that's really what it comes down to, Netflix. You were trying to push me into your shitty streaming. And that's what I mean. Shitty streaming is what it is. There ain't no other way to describe it. If you had some decent content that was relatively new and fresh, yeah, that'd be one thing. But pushing me into a direction of crap is just not going to work for me. So, all right. So anyway, I'm saying screw Netflix. I canceled them today. The guy made the mistake of asking me why. And, and I was cool to him because I knew he wasn't the decision maker. But I let him know. I also told him I was going to make a YouTube video about it. He was a cool dude. And I think he understood. I could tell that he had fielded a million phone calls just like the one I made today. It was great because I had canceled online. And as I was canceling online, I was on hold for a Netflix service because I wanted to let them know that I was about to pull the plug on their operation. And but that was kind of cool. Anyway, so yeah, Netflix, you suck. I don't know what it would take for you to get my money again. I have no idea. I really don't. But as of right now, I have no intentions of going back to you. I think you screwed up. You screwed up. This is probably, in my opinion, on the same level of when Coca-Cola decided to go with New Coke. Remember that? Netflix, you're pricing yourself out of oblivion here. And if you own Netflix stock, you better take what I'm saying into account, because I think they're making some pretty poor management decisions, and that will be reflected in their stock price. I guarantee you that. All right, well, anyway, this is pushing 10 minutes on a rant. Just one more time. Netflix, you suck. No, I got to do it a few more times. Netflix, you suck. Netflix, you suck. See ya.